Welcome into the SBR Betting Roundtable for Wednesday, 9:30 a.m. Pacific. I'm Drew Martin, your host, alongside Donnie Rightside, Ian Cameron, and Jeff Nadeau. We're going to be hitting NFL, a little NHL, a little NBA, and college football, maybe some CFL if Ian Cameron wants to in the 60 seconds of Cameron. Guys, let's go right around the horn, see what's up this week in sports betting. So let's start off with Donnie Rightside. Find him on Twitter at RightsideVP. His work at DonnieRightside.com. Donnie, welcome to the roundtable.
Maybe are we pouring out the 40 today, I guess, for the U.S. men's national team going down versus Trinidad and Tobago last night. The interesting about that game is I'm not a soccer guy, but it's an event. Two questions on this one for soccer fans out there. Number one, it looked like the game, if it was supposed to be high level and a lot of money is at stake to get into the World Cup, it looked like it was at my local high school field. And number two, it was on basically a non-HD BNTV or BNTV, whatever it is. I was expecting McNabb to be a part of that telecast there. Completely hilarious. So I don't know what to go from soccer here, but I don't think that's a good look for the U.S. last night.
Not a good look at all. Anything to say on that, Ian?
Well, I mean, even the NHL has those issues. They get buried at times. You know, they could do a lot better than NBC Sports Network, but they're on that network instead of ESPN or somewhere. But it's disappointing. Like, I don't follow soccer in and out, but for the people that really truly care about soccer in the United States, this is a shame because you would expect at least this nation to get to a World Cup, qualify for it. And I said this on Twitter, and I don't think I'm being hockey biased or anything like that. USA's got a better chance of winning a gold medal or winning a title in international hockey in the next 5 to 10 years than they do in soccer, ever doing anything in a World Cup, in the FIFA World Cup in soccer. When you look at the hockey for the United States, led by Austin Matthews and Jack Eichel, two next-generation superstars in the league, there's going to be good times coming for USA hockey. They're going to give Russia, Sweden, Canada even, all of these countries, hell, over the next several years with a ton of great young players coming through the pipeline in USA hockey. Going to be fun to watch. But as for the soccer, a very, very tough night last night, and really a shame and an embarrassment that they are not qualifying for this World Cup. You'd at least expect the U.S. to field a soccer roster with their national team that can get to a World Cup. That's usually been almost a given over the last several decades. Not going to happen this time, and it really is awful. Really is.
And his name is Ian Cameron. Find him on Twitter at Babano. His work at sportsmemo.com. Big man on campus. Last but certainly not least, find him on Twitter at Jeff Nadeau. Any follow-up to what Ian and Donnie said, big man?
Yeah, actually, I'm going to attack two of Donnie's points. First of all, BN Sports, Real Madrid plays on it, Ronaldo, Lionel Messi. I mean, where it is on the TV channel doesn't mean anything. Second of all, every team, it doesn't. I mean, what does that matter? I mean, Messi.
BNTV got that. How much did BNTV? Did the U.S. soccer team pay?
Yeah. And also, to your point on them having to go play in Tobago, I mean, Germany goes and plays in San Marino, Azerbaijan, Kosovo. Portugal plays in Andorra. You plays on the schedule. I agree with you. Some of those teams should not be involved in this level of competition. But where it is on TV doesn't matter because soccer, unfortunately, in this country is not rooted for as much as other sports. I don't think USA decided where that game was on. Messi, Ronaldo, they play on BN Sports. It's actually a very high-level soccer channel. Is it a good channel? No. The HD is brutal. They need to fix that. That's something I've widely discussed. Again, it's embarrassing, but I don't know that the channel it's on matters much.
Yeah, the BN Sports. I mean, you get some of the small conference college football games on there. I think the Stadium channel is a lot better. But anyway, guys, we got to get into some NFL here. Let's go around the horn. Maybe a team to bet on. Let's start off with that. Ian, do you want to start us off? Team to bet on NFL wise.
Team to bet on NFL wise. You know, there's a team that's interesting me right now. In the NFL coming into this week specifically, might be setting up into a decent spot. We're going to get into this later, and it's going to be a team that nobody is going to want after last week, but I'm going to mention the Pittsburgh Steelers here in this particular situation. Look, there's a value problem now with the Kansas City Chiefs. You're looking at their line coming up with Pittsburgh this weekend, 4.5, 5 at home, when it was probably going to be pick 'em -1 in this spot before the season started, with the expectations for the Steelers, with people saying regression for the Chiefs. Clearly that has not happened. Chiefs undefeated, I understand that. But you don't play 2 national TV games in a 6-day span, beat the Washington Redskins on Monday night, just looked tremendous in domination really, on both sides of the football for the majority of that game against the Houston Texans on the road on Sunday night. 2 huge national TV victories in less than a week. The entire world's watching you. The entire NFL football world's watching you. You don't pull off those kind of 2 wins and not be an overvalued commodity at that point, coming off those 2 wins. I've seen this movie before in the NFL. It's a tried and true philosophy going back years. You have 2 monster national TV wins in impressive fashion, like the Kansas City Chiefs are just coming off of. I'm not looking to make a case to bet you the next time out. Sorry, that's all there is to it. They're playing great football. I understand that. Alex Smith, great job. Defense stepped up for majority of that game and really put the clamps down on Deshaun Watson and the Texans last Sunday. There's a value problem now with Kansas City. You have 2 impressive TV wins like that. You're going to be a little bit overvalued in the betting markets. And I think Pittsburgh is sitting on a step up, back against the wall. Everyone is basically throwing stones at us, like egging our house, so to speak. We can't play anymore. Ben Roethlisberger's done. He's shot. Can't play quarterback anymore. Le'Veon Bell, what's wrong with him? Hasn't been able to get going consistently. Ben, obviously, with his 5 interceptions. The whole world's loving the Chiefs. Nobody's loving the Steelers.
Yeah,
great setup. Give me Pittsburgh Sunday. I
got to tell you, this is all I'm hearing is now how the Steelers. I mean, even me, I've been on the Steelers bandwagon, but now Donnie, you and I mean, I'm starting to feel a little bit.
Yeah, like what are we doing? Like, because when the great minds all get together, when we all get together and plug in, it's like, oh no.
Yeah, now I'm like, oh shit, maybe
do we have consensus here?
No, that's all I hear. Yeah. All I'm hearing is about the Steelers now. I liked it when it was like I felt like I was on the right side, and I was like, you know what, I think the Steelers are pretty sharp here. But now, I mean, I'm not saying anything about Ian, being any certain way, but everyone's starting to seem like it now. It seems like everyone likes the Steelers now, and I actually wrote down bet on Steelers, buy low option, so many weapons, defense is solid. And at the end of the day, they're still 2-0 in their division. So it's not all lost. They have the best pass defense in the league. But the truth is they got to go on the road. And I guess now I'm just kind of concerned with I feel like now they're a trendy kind of buy low option. But I can't disagree with anything Ian Cameron said.
I like Ian's point of view. I mean, Ian, just to back you up on this, I mean, the NFL, we talk about it week to week as a process and buy low, sell high type of team. There's a lot of talent on that football team, still a lot of pride, a lot of veterans, a lot of Pro Bowlers. And the one angle that you like from that perspective, and we're looking to back, Pittsburgh going forward this weekend, is Kansas City with those injuries. If you take Travis Kelce out of the lineup for the Kansas City Chiefs, that closes down the whole field. Let's not also forget they lost 2 wide receivers also on Sunday Night Football, and also coming off a week where, hey, we're undefeated. We're coming home. We should be able to win the game. You're playing that favored role again, 4.5 to 5 out there. Did the Steelers show up with a little bit of pride this week is the only question that you would have. If I could make up a game plan for them this weekend, I would hand the ball 35 times to Le'Veon Bell and you would cover the spread. If
Kelce's out, I agree with you, Don. I think they're the play, the Chiefs. Yeah. I just think, like I said on the closing line with you, there's a thing you can do and you can watch called film. And what the defense for the Steelers are going to see is that Houston allowed Alex Smith to get out of the pocket, move to the right side, move to the left side with ease, and just complete those post patterns kind of over the middle. I don't think that's going to be as easy here against the Steelers. This Steelers pass defense is impressive. They're number 1 in the NFL. I think that's going to be difficult. Without Conley, without Travis Kelce, that offense isn't as clearly as potent. You get a hungry, desperate team in here that's really – look, I mean, if you've listened to Pittsburgh sports radio, if you've listened to everything coming out of Pittsburgh, I mean, it is really a buy low option for a team that we haven't seen this poor in a long time. This is, like Ian said, the time of the week or the time of the year where you have to jump in and get in. And at the end of the day, this isn't a bad bet. I mean, you're getting a good football team in the Steelers. They're just not playing particularly well right now. But again, the truth of the matter is they're still 2-0 in their division. Nothing is lost with this team right now. I think they're the right play here. But we all know, guys, I mean, the public's going to bet the Chiefs. They see that 5-0 ATS record. They see all that stuff. So, again, I think the Steelers are still going to be a sharp play. I took them at 4.5. I'm hoping that, we're on the right side of this one. I really like it, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it's classic NFL 101 handicapping, going back tried and true 20 years. You've got a team off a not one, but 2 huge national television wins and looked good in the process in 6 days, no less, too. Washington and Houston, back-to-back national TV wins. You've got Pittsburgh losing to the not the lowly, but they are better, Jacksonville, but you're not supposed to lose to the Jacksonville Jaguars laying more than a touchdown at home. Pittsburgh did that, and it's a Pittsburgh team that also lost to Chicago on the road. The one caveat, the one thing that does concern me is if the struggles and the just, ineptitude, particularly on offense, continues and the turnovers continue for Pittsburgh, Kansas City will win and cover this game. I have no doubt in that. But when you ask me, Kansas City off 2 national TV wins, Pittsburgh off a horrible home loss to Jacksonville, a team that was supposed to be an AFC and Super Bowl contender, Pittsburgh, remember, before the season started. Where to you does the point spread value lie in this game? I think I know where it lies, and that's my case.
Yeah, agreed.
Hey, in the chat box, we got Mario saying Pitt's 5-0 when getting blown out by more than 10 points. So that could be a good betting angle too, according to Mario. Guys, what about
they've been a very good off a straight up loss team in the Mike Tomlin era. I know Tomlin's not always everyone's favorite coach, but they have usually responded.
I think he's top 5 coach in the league.
Yep.
We disagreed, Donnie and I, on that.
And that's all right, guys. That's what makes the market. But what about bet on teams in the NFL? Donnie, do you have a bet on team you got?
Yeah, a bet on team for me. I mean, look at the game last week. It's kind of interesting that you actually would think like a Blake Bortles team is a bet on football team, but I like the way they're reacting. I almost have to give credit a little bit to Gabe Morency bringing up the point where, early in the season, you lose Allen Robinson, who's your top wide receiver, and you say, oh my God, they're sunk now. How are they going to move the football? What are they going to do? But the more it makes sense is like less chances for Blake Bortles to say, oh my God, I have to get Allen Robinson the football, pick 6, interception, turnover. They're playing football the way it's supposed to be played. If you look at, to me, their 2 most impressive wins, they go on the road opening day versus Houston and say, you know what? If you're going to turn the football over, we're just going to take it and we're going to run the football and play good defense. They come out with the easy victory. They come into Pittsburgh, opened up the line, 8.5, crashes down to about 7 at game time. And they say, you know what? 5 turnovers in that game from Big Ben. You know what? We're not going to ruin this game. We're just going to play defense off it. We're going to run the football and we're going to pound it into the ground. It worked again. I can't believe I'm saying I love the way Jacksonville's playing football right now.
All right. So bet on team from Donnie. And Big Man, do you want to add anything in this category?
I have a team to fade, more or less, my bet on team was the Steelers. But a team to fade, I mean, again, this is very, to the point, but the Giants, I mean, how could you not continue long-term to fade the New York Giants? I mean, they're 0-5, as we know. And when you really look at this team and try to think, well, okay, it's the NFL. They could still stock their team with professionals. They're still going to be able to move the ball. 1 to 2 or 3 players is going to make the team. But then you look at exactly their depth chart at this point. Your leading receiver is Roger Lewis. You have no run game whatsoever. You haven't had a run game in a long time, basically since Brandon Jacobs, and if you don't consider him a good running back, Tiki Barber. They have no receivers, and their offensive line is one of the worst in the league. And before these injuries, by the way, just want to point this out, they were only averaging 16 points a game, among the worst in the league. This team is going to get shut out regularly. This is not me just piling on a team because they're bad. They're going to be really poor. Plus, they have a quarterback that has a problem with turning the football over. The air in this balloon is completely out. You got to go to face the Broncos, Seahawks, back-to-back. It is going to keep getting more ugly in New York because at the end of the day, before these injuries, they weren't good to begin with.
Yeah.
And Donnie and Ian, what do you guys think about like that kind of betting profile in the NFL, or what BMOC said as far as bad teams keep betting them to lose, or good teams keep betting them to win, or do you look to kind of turn the tables on that?
I'm not looking to turn any tables for the Giants. No way, no how. This is almost a stick a fork in them. They're done scenario with this team, with a head coach that may not even be around much longer in Bill McAdoo. And you look at a situation here where the receiving core now decimated with injuries, an offense that's been anemic all season long, a defense that's hung in there at times, but they're getting worn down. Eli Apple in the secondary has been picked on a little bit for this Giants team. In New York's case, It's not a situation where I'm looking to be proactive and looking to find reasons to bet on them and looking for point spread value. No, I see a team that's probably realizing the season's done at this point in time. I'm not looking to make a case for someone like that. And Drew, to answer your question, I look at it case by case, team by team basis. It's not a blanket statement. We don't throw everybody in one pile and say, this is what we're going to do with these struggling football teams. It's case by case, team by team, matchup by matchup on a week to week basis in terms of how I decide on that.
Yeah, and just to go off that point, because I always love to build a case against a team that maybe somebody's not looking at. So if you're trying to do that with the Giants, you can't have them at 0-5 in this situation. If you say, let's flip it around, not 0-5, not even 5-0. Let's say if they were coming in this game 3-2 or 4-1, lost all their starters, got beat by the Chargers last week. Now they're going on the road to play arguably the best defense in the NFL. And you have your top, 3-4 weapons are going to be out of this football game. And you can say, let me make a case for the Giants. Maybe they can lean on their ground game. Their offensive line is terrible. Okay, well, let me lean on the quarterback who's going to be scared to death back there, trying to not get hit and just throw the football up there, but nobody to make plays for him here. If the Giants were, had a winning record or a 500 record heading into Denver, I might try to make a case, but it's also the same thing that Ian brought up. I'll piggyback off that. Is where's the veteran leadership going to come in now? OCU Manura fought tooth and nail to play in that football game, bum shoulder, bum knee. Now they're 0-5. On the other side, Olivier Vernon coming in with a banged-up ankle. If you're 3-2, 4-1, or trying to save your season, you're going to push ahead and try to play in that football game. What's his motivation to come back now? He's already got his money in his pocket. What's the motivation for the other veterans who are saying, you know what? In the NFL, nothing is guaranteed in this league. Why am I going to go out here and risk it and bust my hump? We're not going to the playoffs, and I need to sustain, a level of being healthy for next year to head into the football season. My coach isn't going to be here. We've all had that before. How about a coach on the hot seat who he's not going to be there next year? You don't respect the guy. You're not even listening to him anymore. So for me to make a case for the Giants, even though they're getting 11.5 points or 12 on the road, I actually can't make it because the mindset is all off for the Giants right now.
This is a disastrous spot. I mean, there's no team you want to face less in this spot than the Denver Broncos. I mean, you have to look at, and I think you've made this point, Don Wright. I mean, you look at Roger Lewis, your starting receiver. Who's he going to be paired up with on the outside? Talib. I mean, it's not even fair, really. I mean, these guys just aren't. I mean, they're being thrusted into roles where they're just not going to be very effective. And then, if you're facing the Giants, all you got to do is shut down Evan Engram, and they're really hamstrung. Someone's going to have to really step up. I mean, you're going to have to get a really high-level performance out of a Roger Lewis or something like that, who, look, was very good at Bowling Green, don't get me wrong. But, again, playing Kent State and the Broncos is a little different here. It's a tough spot here going to Denver, a place that they never lose, and you got to worry about not even having players to go in this game. I mean, your starting receivers are going to be Roger Lewis, Travis Rudolph.
Travis Rudolph. Who's the other kid? They brought somebody off the practice squad, signed somebody off the street. Yeah, come on.
Tavares Martin, who played at Washington State, was with the Eagles in training camp. It's literally a very high-level college group of wide receivers, but does that translate to the NFL? I just don't think.
And especially where it's at, maybe you could make a case and say, you know what, if they were getting 10 at home and maybe Denver just said, look, we're going to beat this team up. Let's not even press the buttons. If we get up 7 to 10 points, we can sit on it. We don't think they can score. But that whole mindset of our season is done. My coach is probably fired. I have no weapons, and I'm going to Denver to play, and they're hungry to play. That's a recipe for disaster.
You have it's not like you have a leader at coach to kind of bring the troops and say, all right, guys, let's get prepared. Their coach is an absolute moron. I mean, he's one of the biggest morons in the league. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it just doesn't. And one other thing, guys, in total defense, the New York Giants are 28th in the league. I mean, it's not like they've been a shutdown defense either. And again, that's, as far as total defense, that doesn't all the metrics. But again, it's not like you're getting a high-level defense here either, really. They've not been particularly great either.
Guys, let's break down a game. 255, 256, kind of the same subject that we're talking about is, good teams, are they going to continue to cover, and bad teams just fade city? We got the Miami Dolphins traveling to Atlanta, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, taking on the Atlanta Falcons, and 46.5 the total. Falcons laying 12.5 at 5 dimes. Looks like you can buy them as low as -11 at Heritage. Donnie, you want to start us off on this? How are you looking to bet this game?
Just being a contrarian or trying to build value, I'm a big fan of the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, I've touted them all year long. When they're at home, they're really tough to beat. Mohamed Sanu doesn't look like he's going to go in this game. Julio Jones is going to go. The only thing I'm worried about in this game is who's going to come to play. The Miami I saw last week, I mean, I had Miami +3, got him early in the week. The line, I think, ended up maybe a -1 for Miami game time. But Tennessee, I don't know what Tennessee football team was out on the field that day. It was hilarious to watch. I never felt threatened, even though it was 10-10. You thought Miami would win. But on the other side of the table, the Miami Dolphins, you get into the mindset of that football team. Supposedly have really good weapons at wide receiver, might be down one of those weapons. Jay Ajayi is supposed to, manhandle the line of scrimmage and handle his duty. He fumbled on Sunday. The game was a lot closer than I had anticipated that game being. I thought, maybe if Miami had won by 7 or 10 points, but a clean 7 to 10 points. They didn't look that good. I'm still trying to build up to see what type of game I'm going to get at Miami, because in the NFL, just getting over 10 points or double digits from an okay football team is a lot to cover, even for the Atlanta Falcons coming in. I'm not in love with this game right now, but I'm not going to lay the 12 or whatever it is with the Falcons. I just think it's too much. But watching Jay Cutler go through the motions out there during football games is really disturbing, because if you watch a game and you have a team that's going to be taking on double digits, let's just say one of the best guys in the league is Drew Brees. If he's down 21 points with 5 minutes to go, he's running a 2-minute drill and serious about scoring and putting up numbers for himself and throwing touchdown passes. When guys like Jay Cutler, who just playing for the paycheck here, are down 17 points with 3 minutes to go, does he really give a damn if he drives the length of the field and gets a touchdown at that point? That's what you have to deal with in this game.
Yeah, great read, Donnie. I love that type of profile. The guys that continue to play hard, especially at the quarterback position when they're down. Yep. Absolutely bet on for me as well. Good point. Big man, any follow-up on what Donnie said?
Yeah, I mean, I think he makes good points. And I actually want to discuss the Miami Dolphins as a whole and look at their team situation going forward. Okay, so you already don't have a bye at all this year. Okay, you haven't scored 20 points in any game or more in any game. Your quarterback looks like he has absolutely no interest. It's like when I go to the dentist's office. That's what it looks like when Jay Cutler goes out to play football. He's literally the most inept guy. He just has no – I mean, and it's clear from me looking at the situation, Adam Gase is a little annoyed, I feel like. He has no control of this team right now. Your offensive line coach is out sniffing coke on camera and sending it to hookers and gets canned. By the way, why did he resign? He wasn't fired? Amazing. Which that's one point with the woman I do agree with. Why was he not fired? That's another story, though. This team is just an absolute mess. And now you got to go on the road. And by the way, last week they won, actually. If no one saw that, they actually won. But there's so many things going on with this football team off the record that it's just impossible to bet them right now on the road against a team off a bye who lost in their previous game. I don't think this is a good spot for the Miami Dolphins. If they hang and lose by 7, good for them. I think that's a lot of moxie. If they can go in and don't get blown out here, I think that's pretty impressive, and that's hard for me to say coming from a professional football team. Usually I want to give them the benefit of the doubt and say, well, they are professionals at the end of the day, but they're in a really tough situation, not only on the field but off. There's a lot of things going on. And also I have a question of, is this Forster going to come out and start, giving names out as well? It seems like the thing to do nowadays. That's interesting. Overall, though, Cutler just can't move the ball. This Atlanta defense is a lot better. I would look to bet on the Atlanta Falcons here. This could be a game where Miami proves everyone right and just goes away.
Yeah, for me, this game is not one I'm going to be involved in, but I don't want this underdog. That is for sure. To put last week in perspective, Miami somehow wins a football game with 78 passing yards. 78 freaking passing yards from Jay Cutler, and they won that football game. How does that happen? But it did. Jay Cutler, 12 of 26. He was awful in the football game. Throw out that Miami won that football game. He was horrible. And he shows you the same lack of spark and lack of energy. He's always just, head down, just, he's got the little mouth going too. It's ridiculous. There's no energy, spark whatsoever from Jay Cutler. It doesn't seem like he gives one shit about winning or losing a football game, or any of his teammates for that matter. But I don't think anyone's surprised about that at this point in time. The question is, can you lay this many points with Atlanta? I'm not sure, but if I'm betting it, I'm laying it with Atlanta. You got a team off a bye, team off that loss to the Buffalo Bills, which was a little bit of a misleading score. They did outgain the Bills. Turnovers sort of did them in. Remember, that was the game they lost Sanu and Jones in the receiving core to injuries in that football game. Yeah, they're still battling some injuries at that position, but you give Matt Ryan and this offense a chance to get extra prep time, extra practice in, maybe get some wounded bodies back on the field for this football game. Yeah, there's only one case for me. It's Atlanta or pass. Not sure I'll lay this many points, but if I'm betting, I'm laying the points.
Ian, there was a play last week, getting back to that Dolphins game. I didn't have it in my area. I had the Eagles on the one TV, and I always have the red zone on the other one. So, when they break in for like a big play, I believe the Dolphins were up 7 points or 3 points at this point, and the Dolphins were driving. And it was like, I don't know, maybe a 3rd and 10. Cutler drops back, steps back, and he's rolling around, and he's like, make the first guy miss. I'm like, Jay Cutler's actually going to make a play here and make a big play. Fiddles around in the pocket, throws like a duck out into the flat that got intercepted, and I wanted to throw my remote through the TV because I'm saying if anybody but Jay Cutler was playing right now, the Dolphins would be up 14 to 21 points. And I go back to the Case Keenum effect. Like, put Case Keenum on the Dolphins. They're a much better team than having Jay Cutler. It says everything there. And again, it's motivation going on the road. He gets sacked twice in the first quarter. All he's doing is saying, every Tuesday, my check cashes. How many more weeks do I have to go till I can get out of this? I never wanted to be here in the first place. That's dangerous.
The only good thing for Jay Cutler and the Dolphins last week is he got to face the only quarterback in the NFL that was even more inept than him last week, and that was Matt Castle.
Put that game on like YouTube and send it out and say, this is NFL football at its finest. That game was an embarrassment, start to finish.
Don't watch them. Throw that quarterback tape in the fucking garbage with Castle and Cutler in that game. It was brutal. Disgrace.
Guys, anything left on the NFL slate? I mean, of course, we can get back to it at the end here with best bets.
A great game on the one thing I want to leave us with is we talk about, NFL and its product and what's going on and the type of play. One of the worst years I've seen. I mean, you're going to get a good football game on Thursday night, most likely, even though it's a mixed bag on Thursday night with the Eagles and the Carolina Panthers. And then you look at Sunday night and they leave the Giants in there with Denver. Just a brutal game. And you say, you know what? Monday Night Football, maybe they're going to give us, a good matchup there. The Indianapolis Colts versus the Tennessee Titans, who might be with Matt Castle again. Those are your primetime games this week. Are you kidding me? It's like if you had the NBA schedule and they just threw the Sixers of the past 2 years on back-to-backs, primetime game slots. It's asinine that they can't get rid of that game and change it up.
Yeah, I don't get that, Donnie. I mean, why don't they double it up on Mondays or maybe add a Tuesday game? It seems like the Thursday night games in the NFL aren't that great either.
No, Thursday night's got to go away. Thursday night should go away. They should double up a Monday Night Football game. But just when you say we like NFL football, I like well-played games in the NFL. Go down the list of actual NFL teams. And outside of maybe the Eagles and the Panthers, there's a handful of teams, 5 or 6 teams that you would say I'd love to see them play. But every other game matching up, would you be excited if Chicago played Baltimore or, Miami, Atlanta was in that spotlight, or New England and the Jets matching up, or Cleveland and Houston? It's not even appealing.
No, not at all. I actually want to throw out, before we move on from NFL, one fade team, one bet against team, and I'm worried about this team after what I saw last week. The Oakland Raiders, who are not looking too fierce and too scary right now, and I don't give a damn if Carr comes back this week or not. This is bad stuff I'm seeing from this football team. 30-17 home loss to the Baltimore Ravens, who are in one of the most brutal travel and scheduling spots I've seen. No bye week. They had the London game a couple weeks ago, the Pittsburgh divisional game, flying out to the West Coast, and for the Raiders to play as poorly as they did at home and let Joe Flacco, throw for over 200 yards against a secondary that really, to be honest, is really looking like a dumpster fire right now. This Oakland secondary, they've been passed on pretty much a lot this season. Remember Washington carving them up on that Sunday night game earlier this season. I'm seeing a lot of bad body language from this team. When they get down, when they take a punch, they're not punching back. That's not something I like to see. I expect bad teams to do that. I don't expect a team like the Oakland Raiders to do that, but maybe they're not as good as people think. This is a team I've got concerns with moving forward. Carr back or not, this defense outside of Khalil Mack, he's probably the only guy on this defense capable of making a play in a positive manner right now for this Oakland Raiders defense. This is a team spiraling downward. I'm seeing bad body language. I'm seeing, bad penalties as well. There's a lot of bad football being played right now by the Raiders, and if it doesn't get cleaned up, this sort of dream season everyone thought they'd have coming in, it's falling apart quickly.
All right, guys, good NFL talk there. We got a little NHL and NBA coming up, and also college football, and then best bets. But let's get right into 60 seconds of Cameron. Hit on any Canada sports you want, sing, dance, whatever. Let me lead you off with Ian. Have you ever recorded yourself sniffing a white substance and then sent it to a stripper? And also talking about having a baby.
Neither. Oh, having a baby, fuck, that's not happening anytime soon. No, and I don't want that to happen anytime soon. The betting life is the single life, as far as I'm concerned. That's where it's at. That's my priority right now. If the girl comes along, she's gonna have to deal with my career. That's all there is to it. There's not going to be any relenting. There's not going to be let's go movies, let's go eat dinner on a Saturday night when a big college football game's on. It's not going to be let's go for a walk in the park for 2 hours on a Sunday afternoon during an NFL season.
Why are you lying, Ian? Come on, man. You know, if a girl came around, you would cut that CFL game off and go out to dinner with her. Come on.
Well, Ian, I try to tell my wife about my so-called career right now, but she don't hear it. She don't want to hear it.
No, that's the thing. You got to try to convince them about it. I'm going to skip CFL talk, Drew, because it's end of the season. There's no lines anyway yet for the games this week. NHL hockey, very interesting start. I mean, you've got a big game tonight: Pittsburgh Penguins, Washington Capitals. It's a great game. Playoff revenge, playoff rematch on NBC Sports Network, national TV. Donnie and I will talk about that tonight on the closing line show. Later. I think Washington, I was looking to bet them in that game. It's a little higher the price than I thought, -125, -130, but Capitals have looked really good this season. And other than blowing a lead against Tampa the other night, they've been scoring goals left and right. So I think Capitals might show up there. And I think Boston, too, against Colorado, worth a look on the ice tonight. Boston, short turnaround revenge. They lost at home to Colorado Monday. They play them on the road tonight. I think they get back at the Avalanche, who don't win 2 games in a row very often. Didn't do that last year. Did not have a good home ice record last year. So take a look maybe at the Bruins as road chalk tonight.
All right, good stuff, Ian. Hey, guys, let's give a little love to the NBA on the hardwood. Donnie, you or Big Man, I know you guys are big in the NBA, or at least know a lot about it. What do you want to talk betting-wise, NBA style?
Yeah, I think I'm not sure Donnie is. Donnie, you aren't, right?
I was just going to say Sixers are my favorite team, and I'll hand that over to Jeff.
Yeah, no, the season gets going on Tuesday. I've been betting preseason. I've been betting on my system, which has done pretty well. I'm looking forward to getting that started. Yeah, last night the Cavs finally had a bit of their first team in, LeBron and Dwayne Wade and Derrick Rose. I will say this, Derrick Rose looked pretty good, I have to say. It was preseason, but coming off the bench, I thought he looked good. Again, it was only a couple minutes, and we'll see how that translates. I'm sure he'll get injured, but it's going to be real interesting when Isaiah Thomas comes back, end of the year, at the first of the year. They're still the best team in the East. We're going to see what happens. But, yeah, I'm excited for the season to get started. You kind of never know. You miss the NBA until it's kind of gone and you hear about all this drama. It's time to get back on the court. The Sixers I'm a little concerned about, but I'm excited to see, Joel Embiid. He's going to play in their next preseason game. So I'm excited overall. Season gets going on Tuesday. Should be fun.